Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another Daincast. This time we have another game from our friend QYK. He's a Diamond Terran. He's playing the Red Terran pieces on Ice and Chrome LE, one of these new ladder maps, and he's got this delightful new skin from the war chest here. Looks very, very, very muscular for some reason. His opponent on, I think, a default skin here. What an absolute pleb. He is NOOBER. He's playing the Zerg in the blue in the bottom left-hand corner. This game from QYK has been titled Frustration Level Max. So I'm really excited to see what it is about this game that QYK found so frustrating. I think that's one of the things in Starcraft that everyone can relate to. No matter what your MMR, no matter what your race, no matter how long you've been playing, there's going to be some levels of frustration because this is such a difficult game. There's so many things to master. There's so many ins, so many outs, so many things to worry about, and there's so many cheesy, abusive strategies in the game, which are my personal favorites. I love things that make people frustrated because it means they're probably pretty strong. And unfortunately, part of the fun in this game is causing frustration for your opponents. That's just the nature of the game. And if this Zerg player was able to do it to QYK, there's probably something to be learned from him. Even though he might be a NOOBER, he might have something to teach us. And let's see if we can go to the School of NOOBER and take Frustration 101. QYK going for a pretty, well, I would say standard Reaper expand because that seems to be what I always say, but actually he's going for double gas pretty early on with only one in each gas geyser. Not really sure what the plan is here. Not really sure why you'd go for double gas geysers and then a CC. You could probably just skip this gas geyser and still manage to get a Reaper out in time. This is just a lot of investment on the high end. So might be doing some kind of, I don't know, really early battlecruiser play or something like that, but I think this is not the most efficient way to do this. There is a drone scout here from NOOBER. It's going to be very annoying harassing this SCV. I pray to Terran Jesus that he does not get the kill on this. Nice little micro there from the SCV is going to manage to save it, but the drone takes one of the gases in order to keep himself alive. Might be able to cancel it at the last second and pop in to have another scout. NOOBER adding now a Baneling nest very early on two bases. No third base, just a Baneling nest coming down. I think this drone then makes a little more sense. He's trying to stop the wall from coming down. He's trying to just cause a little bit of inefficiencies from his opponent so that once he attacks with his Baneling bust, I mean, I presume this is going to be a Baneling bust, right? Two bases, two gases, and a Baneling nest before 3 minutes. It's got to be some kind of cheese. Hatchery goes down just outside the natural. This is, for those of you who are new to Starcraft, this is not normal. This is not where you should be building your bases unless you want to be extremely aggressive. There's no minerals here. The point of this is to allow you to build spine crawlers and to create units closer to your opponent to put on the maximum amount of pressure possible. We'll have to see how QYK deals with this. He has no idea just yet. He hasn't scouted anything because he didn't make a Reaper. He's not going to know exactly what his opponent's doing. He's also not going to know that he's going for a fast layer. So there's so many things going on for the Zerg. I don't even know how to get a read on this. I don't know why you'd go for a layer if you're going for Baneling bust. I don't know why you'd go for a proxy hatch if you're going for a Baneling bust, but who knows? It might just work for him. QYK is making Hellions here, which should help him stay safe against the flood of Zerglings and Banelings. He's got a second factory on the way. Could make tanks with it, could make Cyclones. I have a feeling he's going to make tanks because this is the build that I have been going over with him. So he's going to be on mech-based composition on two bases. He's going to have to micro his heart out, though. There's no Baneling speed just yet. The Banelings are morphing just on the ramp outside of QYK's base. He does have a few Hellions here that are going to poke in and start to try and kill this gas geyser that his opponent has taken in his base, but I don't know if he still even realizes what's about to happen to him. It's going to be very tedious here. He's going to have to make sure that once the Zerglings come in, they do not get a surround on these Hellions. That is crucial. These are his lifeline. He does close off his second supply depot. A little bit of micro from him is going to do a decent amount of damage here. He doesn't lose all of the Hellions. There's two of them going down. Two of them do survive. This is going to be a frustrating thing to experience here. Getting caught on your own ramp. He is still making Hellions two at a time. Sieges up his tank and might just stabilize for now, but he's lost a lot of workers. And he's lost a lot of his units as well. He has lost up to 10 workers now. Does have 2 more Hellions alive. Does have a bunker here. Just needs to make sure he gets a Marine in that bunker. The Zerglings are pressuring him, but he does manage to kite back up and down the ramp now. These Hellions so good when they are controlled. Trying to repair this bunker, I think the Zerglings are a little bit misinformed as to the importance of this bunker, because there's no actual Marines to put in the bunker. There's no Reaper or Marine to put in that bunker. And the Zerglings are going to continually swarm. This is the hard thing about this. You need to be constantly microing these Hellions to make sure that you don't die. You need to make sure you're constantly trading. You can hypothetically trade infinitely with Hellions if you control them properly. However, they are very, very difficult to not trade poorly with against Zerglings. If you're a little bit new, you're a little bit not paying attention, you go back and macro for 1 second, all of a sudden the Zerglings surround them and kill everything for free. It's so tedious. I can see why this would be a frustrating loss. However, QYK tank on the high ground is going to keep him in this game. He still has a worker advantage, 27 workers to the only 23 of his opponent. There's so much being invested in this attack from his opponent. I actually think the fact that he's kept this orbital alive, might even be able to float it over to another location, is going to be the saving grace for him. There's still barely any mining happening. His opponent is just committing and committing and committing to make sure that he gets this kill. But now the Banelings are detonating on a tank, not what you want. A Hellion is coming out here, might help to clean this up, but both the tanks have gone down, and although the Zerg has lost most of his army, QIK has lost those critical pieces, doesn't even have a wall on his ramp, so this is going to be very, very difficult as these Zerglings commit to this. He needs to make sure that he kites these Hellions back, doesn't want to lose them. Does get a few nice hits on those Zerglings. For now, the attack is in a pause. The Zerg is running out of resources at the moment, so he's going to just continue to inject his hatchery and make Zerglings. That's all he's going to do. He doesn't have enough tech to back this up. He doesn't have any workers to do anything else with it. He has now saturated his base. He's made 7 more workers here to help him to mine a little bit more efficiently. But QIK now has the issue of having the Hellions on creep outside of his base. So now the Zerglings are actually going to be able to surround them. No problem whatsoever. Doesn't matter how much kiting you do. The Zerglings are faster than Hellions on creep, so they're going to be able to surround them and clean them up, no problem. QYK stabilizing now with his wall, frantically trying to not die here. He's up to 3 factories production. Going to keep making those Hellions, knowing that Zerglings are the main threat right now. QYK now is behind in economy just a little bit. He doesn't have 2 bases mining. Actually, excuse me, he does have this base mining, but as soon as the Zerg finds out about this, I think he might be in for a little bit of trouble, but QYK getting away with it for now. It's going to keep him in the game. He still has a reasonable worker count, only down 7 workers, but now Zerg is feeling like he is able to transition, so he's going to take both of his gases. Still doesn't have a 3rd base, which is great for QYK. He's going to try and stabilize here on 2 bases. Hide this little proxy base, but the overlords are flying around. He might get spotted here, but by the time he does, hopefully he has a big enough army to actually keep himself alive, because his natural expansion is not going to be taken by him anytime soon. There's so much creep covering everything. He's not going to be able to land those buildings. Marines do pick out a stray overlord. I think the Zerg player there just wanted to scout what was happening, wanted to make sure he knew everything so that there's no surprises, no battle cruisers, no fleet of cloak banshees, anything like that. But hark, the Spire has gone down for NOOBER. Obviously, the logical next step to any good Zerg cheese. Your opponent's been building things that are good against your units on the ground, so it's time to do something that shoots down from above. So QYK finally going to get the thorn out of his side here by creating a safe space at his natural expansion. Kills most of the creep tumors, does miss a couple of them, and he's actually going to have a fresh one build there as well. So it's going to be a little bit frustrating for him. He thinks he's killed all this creep, but actually there's still a creep tumor right where he would like to be. The Zerg still does not quite know about this expansion, which is going to allow QYK to continue mining from it successfully for a while. This is very, very important for him, but now he's got a big problem, which is that he doesn't have a single unit. Wow, excuse me, he does have 3 Marines, but he doesn't have units that shoot up exactly. He is starting to make a Thor, which I think is just happens to be his style. He doesn't really know about the mutas yet, but this is going to be a great thing for him. If he pushes with this Thor, it's going to help keep him alive against those mutalisks. But there's still a large army on the ground for this Zerg player. It's a little bit smaller. It's very, very close to his. So we'll have to see how these players trade against one another, see how their units actually interact with one another once they attack. The creep tumors have finally been completely cleared out from the natural expansion of QYK. He's got a good force of Hellbats and tanks. He's adding a Thor to this mix. He's got 3 factories worth of production. He's getting his upgrades, and he's building a 3rd command center. So honestly, after the amount of pressure he was dealing with, I think this is a nice cleanup from QYK. However, because of the early hatchery in Queens, the creep is out of control in this game. It's all the way on his side of the map. It's not quite connected between the two, but look at the amount, look at the highway, the Autobahn of creep that's going to be going through this map. He's going to be able to just sling Zerglings through the middle of the map and put so much pressure on for counterattacks. So QYK is going to be looking to clean this creep up when he gets the opportunity to do so. Another command center. Oh no, he's just flying this one down, but he is going to drop another command center. QYK, understanding the importance of that macro, he's going to continue to build workers. He's going to continue to macro. He's got upgrades. He's got 3 CCs. He's building a 4th, and his Zerg opponent hasn't saturated his 3rd base yet. So the economic advantage, very convincingly, is going to be in QYK's camp, as it should be after holding a really extended and overly committed all-in. He is going to be in the superior economic position and technological position, to be honest. There's only a handful of Mutalisks. Obviously, Mutalisks are scary and annoying units to deal with, but as soon as QYK realizes this is the case, he's going to start making more Widow Mines. He's going to start making more Thors. It's going to be a little bit annoying for him because now his proxy base is being scouted and crushed by these Mutalisks and Zerglings, but he manages to escape with most of the SCVs. He is going to be able to attack the units, but not before they kill the base. And now QYK is in a little bit of a precarious position here. He needs to make sure he saves this Thor. Nice hot pickup from the medevac is going to save it from those Zerglings. And now he's going to retreat to the safety of these tanks. He's going to try and rebuild this push. Honestly, things aren't looking too bad for QYK. Even though he lost that base, that was really his economic advantage. He stabilized on 2 bases versus the 3 bases of his Zerg opponent. He's built another command center, which he might be able to fly out and take another base at some point. But it's really these Mutalisks that are the threatening thing. He doesn't have a lot of turrets. He doesn't even have turrets in his main base here. He is starting to add them, but the Mutalisk harass is very dangerous. In a situation like this, it's going to make it very difficult for QYK to leave his base. He wants to be putting pressure on the Zerg as he takes a 4th base, but he doesn't have the opportunity to do so. Nice Widow Mine being burrowed there. Doesn't have Drilling Claws, so he could actually pick it off with the Zerglings and Mutas if he wanted to. But for now, it's just going to sit there and pick off units every time they fly by. Only gets 1 kill, but 1 kill is already a decent trait for this Widow Mine. If it manages to get any more, it's going to become a hero Widow Mine. 3 Thors now from our Terran player. 2 tanks protecting them from the Zergling flood. And now QYK is looking to take a 3rd base of his own back to stabilize in this game. But there's so much creep blocking his 3rd base. There's a burrowed Zergling as well. These are so annoying to deal with. You need a scan, you need units there. You can't just blindly take the space. You need to spend a lot of resources. I mean, it's kind of redundant with the creep tumors because you need to scan to kill the creep tumor anyway, so not entirely sure about that. But the scan is going to be a little preemptive here, and QYK is going to try and do a little bit of damage. 3 Mutas do pop down there. Nice moves from QYK. The Hellions joining in from behind with the blue flame are going to melt these Zerglings if they get a chance to. A little bit of micro from QYK would go a long way here, but I think it's not going to matter. There's so much mech against a composition that's just absolutely horrible against it. Muta Ling Bane in a straight up fight against mech. Not what you want if there are blue flame Hellions. Look at this turret. Sadly, only about to finish, but because the worker was killed, it's going to stay there in limbo forever with failure to launch. So now QYK is going to wait for another scan, try and clean this out. But now there are 4 mining bases for the Zerg player. For the first time in this game, I'm thinking really an economic advantage is going to go to NOOBER. And this is going to make it a lot harder for QYK to have a push that packs a punch. He's going to need to wait now, take another base of his own, maybe have better upgrades, and wait for that critical mass of units to crush this Zerg player. The saving grace for QYK is that I think the composition for him is a lot better. He's got Hellbat, Thor, Widow Mine, with a few tanks, which is going to trade, I think, very favorably against the Muta Ling Bane composition of his opponent. You just can't really get those connections if the Hellbats have Blue Flame, if you've got those Widow Mines, especially if he does add Drilling Claws to this. Would love to see Drilling Claws as an upgrade added to these Widow Mines. Love their effectiveness in all the matchups, really. So QYK is going to finally land his 3rd base here. After much deliberation, he's going to even take his gases right away, realizing that gases are the thing that's keeping him in this game. All of his good units require gas, making a 4th CC. He's probably going to add a 5th one after that. Love this expansion timing from QYK. This is keeping him in this game against this very aggressively expanding Zerg player. This 5th base now going down for the Zerg. He's up to 64 workers to the 49 of QYK, but QYK does have 3 orbital commands, soon to be a 4th. Might give him a fighting chance. He's making lots of minerals. He's making lots of money. He's got good defenses left back at home here. The Zergling counterattack is pretty good, but with these Widow Mines, with these tanks attacking everything, he is going to be able to clean up most of this without much of a problem. Hopefully, these Zerglings won't get many more kills in here. They are shifting into Banelings, but QYK is no slouch. He's going to attack these with his SCVs. Not sure if this is going to work because they don't have the upgrades that the Banelings do. These SCVs are doing almost no damage. I think this is going to be, yeah, this is going to be a tragedy here as these Banelings morph and explode on these these SCVs. Guys, pull the SCVs, rally your units, kill them that way. Do not fight banelings with SCVs. It's never going to be a good move for you. However, let's just focus on the positives here for QYK. Yes, he's down half the worker supply, but look at the army supply. He's got double the army supply of his Zerg opponent. This is what happens when your opponent invests so much into attacking and into killing economy. He's trading his army for economy, which if the game goes on a long time, sure, it's going to be great for you. But there is going to be an opportunity for you, if you've got a bigger army, to just straight up go and kill them. And this is what QYK is going to look for here. Look at the absolute horror show of units. We've got Thors, we've got Hellbats, we've got Widowmines, we've got a Medevac to pick these up. This changeling's going to come in and see the scary, scary mech army here. And once he's got 2-2, I think it would be a great opportunity for him to push. Only has the one armory, though, building things, creating the upgrades. And 3-3 is starting now. Ultralisk Cavern is down, and the Ultra Armor upgrade is about to finish as well. So this is going to be the scary thing for QYK. The Broodlords and Ultralisks, the Zerglings with crackling attack speed is going to be really difficult to deal with. QYK's stable, though. He's taking his 4th base and potentially 5th base as well. Really aggressive expansions for QYK. I absolutely love this. Looking like an absolute macro monster in this game is QYK. He is pretty much stable at this point. Would like to see a Widowmine and a continuation of this wall here to stop the banelings from just rolling in. But so far, we haven't really seen that much of the baneling roll by into the 3rd base. So maybe this is something he doesn't have to worry about. This is the kind of thing you have to get a read on. But would just like this to be a best practice in general, just to wall this off. Make sure that the banelings can't come in. But overall, QYK is looking to be at a pretty stable economy here. Yes, he's down in workers. He's only got 46 workers. Needs to make sure he continues to make those. Needs to make sure he's transferring them out. But he's got enough orbitals, and he might be able to clean this up and take a 5th base as well, which would keep him in this economically. But the Broodlords, the Overseers, the Corruptors, the absolute air fleet of Zerg is now on its way to attack his 3rd base. So you have to see how QYK responds to this. He doesn't know about it just yet. He's only got his Thors to deal with these Broodlords, but these Thors can trade really well if they go into their alternate attack mode for anti-air, where they just do long-range single target. This is the perfect weapon against these Broodlords. Not so much against the Mutas, but this is going to be a pretty nice opportunity here for QYK to do some damage, honestly. If he's able to fight with his army against only these Broodlords before the Ultralisks get here, it should be pretty decent for him, but he doesn't know about it yet, and the Broodlords are going to be sieging up the 3rd base from the low ground here, which is going to mean the Thors have to commit at an awkward angle here. It might be difficult for them to close that distance. The Broodlords getting a few kills on the SCVs. This is going to be very difficult for QYK to deal with. I don't know if he switched the firing mode or not. Looks like he has. He kills 1 or 2 Broodlords, and now he's right-clicking on them. Nice control from QYK. Stutter stepping the Thors in, killing the Broodlords 1 at a time. 3 of them go down. A 4th one goes down. This is almost completely cleaned up now, and only 1 Broodlord is left. There is an army of changelings coming in, but the Ultra is only now joining the fight, and as long as QYK controls this carefully, he should be absolutely fine. Needs to turn around, needs to fight this Thor in this choke point here. 3 more Ultras join the battle. The Widowmines aren't burrowed, and now the Ultras are getting nice swipes on these Thors, but as all the Thors and Hellbats turn on them, the Ultralisks get absolutely popped. QYK now looking to be in a dominant position here. 120 army supply to the 10 of his Zerg opponent. I'm not really sure what his Zerg opponent is thinking right now. I love this little burrowed Widowmine at this base here, just stopping him from getting that extra base, just keeping an eye on it. Even though he's got a huge army of Overseers, he's just not going to quite be able to deal with it. Do you think you have enough Overseers, NOOBER? I don't know. Maybe you need a few more. But the important thing is that you don't have an army. You had 10 army supply. You had 3k minerals banked. But now, as NOOBER is spending his minerals, finally building 19 Corruptors. Not really sure what the plan's going to be with those. 19 Corruptors, guys. Probably going to turn most of them into Broodlords, and Broodlords, as we saw, not the best thing against the Thors. So this is looking very, very scary for QYK. He is hitting his timing really well, and as the Corruptors fly over top, they're going to get absolutely popped. A few of these Thors still on the other anti-air mode. I don't think it matters at this point. He pretty much, as soon as the Thors stop moving, they kill a unit instantly. This is not a safe place to be if you are a Zerg player right now. On top of all these Thors, very, very scary. And now the Corruptors are going to be pulled back to this fight, but I'm not really sure what they're going to do about it. Maybe they can try and do Curse of Bile on their own buildings to help him die faster and get him into a new ladder game. That's about the only helpful thing these Corruptors can do on this side of the map. A few Thors do get picked out in the middle of the map from the rally. A little bit awkward there. It's difficult for QYK. He's trying to reinforce his push here, but with these Zerg units in the middle of the map, they are going to pick off a few of these for free. A little bit awkward to deal with. I don't think he cares at this point, though, because he's got 10 Thors in the main base of the Zip Flare. All the tech is going to go down. There's not really an army to speak of to deal with this, and as these Overseers bump up, the AoE of these Thors and Anti-Air is going to do a lot of damage to them. Now they are being cornered into the Zerg's main base here. It's going to be difficult. There is this critical mass now of Broodlords. This could be very scary. He's going to need to make sure he controls this well. Once again, he needs to be controlling those, changing into the alternate firing mode. A few of these Thors still doing their AoE. They don't have the distance that they would like. Walking a few of them in. It's looking okay for him. Still double the army supply for QYK. He's getting some kind of a trade against these. The Hellbats are trying to kill the Broodlings before they kill everything. But as these Broodlords finally are cleaning everything up, QYK still has a pretty good army back at home. So even though the Zerg has cleaned this up, even though it wasn't looking too bad of a cleanup, he lost almost everything in his base. He lost almost all his tech. No creep supporting the Greater Spire. Nothing supporting the Lurker Den. So these are going to bleed away and die. He's got no hive. He's got no layer. He's only got the tech buildings that he had already built. Luckily for him, he has a Hydra Den. I don't know if he's ever going to build a Hydralisk in this game, but all he's got really in the world is these 4 Broodlords and a Dream. So QYK has all the opportunities now to save up a big push. He's got the better economy. His Zerg opponent is only on 2 mining bases. Retreating everything back, realizing he's going to have to get the fight of his life if he wants to win this game. Keep those Broodlords in that dead space, but I think it's going to be a little bit of an overextension from the Zerg. He's going to engage all of this. The Hellions are going to help so much to clean out these Broodlings. And the Thors are right-clicking on the Broodlords. There's only 2 Broodlords left. He's not even going to GG. QYK wins the game.